we lay our story in the quaint town of South Bend, which, unbeknownst to many, holds the secret to one of the biggest scandals in the history of scandals. Our protagonist is Sarah Brenzel, a recent graduate of Notre Dame with a double degree in film and psychology. Having recently scored a job as executive assistant to the CEO of a local company, Sarah hopes to save up enough money to attend a prestigious graduate school to further her film career. Being a person of a somewhat quieter nature, Sarah enjoys the little things in life. Among her favorite pastimes include small gatherings with a close circle of friends, philosophical novels to challenge her analytical thinking, participating in the local chess league to hone her logic skills, and spending time growing fruits and vegetables in her garden. Along with this, Sarah has a large following for her online blog called The Brenzel Bias. She makes regular postings with opinions on films, video games, and other forms of media, along with postings about her personal life. One day during a routine league tournament, Sarah finds herself sitting across from a new challenger. It quickly becomes a difficult match, but she pulls ahead and wins in the end. As a prize, the mysterious man offers to take her to dinner, but she declines. Sarah has vowed to herself not to date anyone, as her work and self-study continue to be her focus. Relationships are messy and impractical to Sarah, especially at a point in life like this. She politely thanks him for the match and moves on to her next opponent, who she crushes, mercilessly. A few weeks later, one morning at dawn, Sarah journeys to the beach to fish. This time of the morning is when the fish are the hungriest, and also the best time to be alone with your thoughts. Shortly after her arrival, the familiar face from her challenging chess match sidles up next to her and asks her for any tips. He says he's new to the area and hasn't fished at the shore before, and comments that her hauls look particularly fruitful. She gives him advice on the best bait for the area, and he begins to catch better and bigger fish. While Sarah is packing up her tackle box to leave, the curiously friendly man asks if he can take her to lunch in exchange for her help with fishing. She hesitates, and he convinces her by saying it won't take more than 45 minutes and she can run out of the restaurant if she changes her mind. Chuckling, she accepts, and he calls a car for them to take to the diner. During the lunch, they finally exchange names. Sarah learns that Ted Smith is an investment banker working in Chicago, but wanted to move out of the city to a smaller town. Turns out these two have much in common, and it is very apparent right away that they have a lot of natural chemistry. 2 hours later, Sarah and Ted finish lunch. Sarah can tell that Ted wants to keep talking, but Sarah gives him a quick hug and takes a car back to her house. A few days later, she comes home to find a beautiful bouquet of sunflowers. Tied to them is a note that says, "Dinner on Friday? Ted," with his number also attached. She now has a lot to think about. Unable to make the decision by herself, one day after work, Sarah invites her friend Madison over to ask for some advice. Expressing her concerns about interference with her ambitions and being distracted by dating someone, Sarah tells Madison that she thinks she will not accept the date. Madison scolds her, saying that she would be out of her mind not to accept dinner with such a handsome, genuine guy. Sarah thanks Madison for the advice and says she will let her know what her ultimate decision is. She tries to put off making the choice. She tries to read, but can't. She tries to write, but can't find any words. After sitting and thinking for a long time, she eventually picks up the phone to call Ted and give him her response. They end up talking for over an hour, and Sarah feels completely at ease with him. Friday suddenly seems very far away. Friday finally arrives, and Sarah has a record-breaking unproductive day at work. She rushes home to get ready and dons her most elegant dress for the evening. After spending a solid hour and a half in front of the mirror applying makeup and practicing her speech, Sarah still doesn't feel ready for her date. She hasn't been on one since sophomore year of college and isn't sure what to expect. She hears the car pull up outside, right on time, and casually and gracefully walks through the door. Ted, looking very suave in a tuxedo, opens the door to the limo for her and whisks her away to a fancy bistro for what turns out to be a wonderful dinner and enchanting evening. After the best date of her life, Ted says goodbye with a brief peck on the cheek outside of her house and leaves her looking forward to their next outing together. Sarah goes to bed swelling with happiness, feeling very lucky that she found someone she could feel so compatible with. Flash forward to 1 year later. Sarah and Ted have continued to date, and by this time, Sarah has come to consider Ted as a serious prospect in her life. However, she still feels that she has not come to know him completely. She has searched for him online, but can't find out anything about him. However, she attributes this to his common name. When she asks about his family, he disregards her questions, saying that he is not close to them and that they live out west. After pushing it a few times, Sarah feels that her pursuit is useless and lets it go. Her blog following agrees and says that she should not look a gift horse in the mouth, as they say. One fine summer day, Sarah meets up with some visiting friends in Chicago. After perusing the shops, grabbing lunch at Giordano's, and seeing the touristy sights, they grab a matinee showing of Cats. Coming out of the theater and making a quick change into casual clothes, Sarah spots Ted with an elderly couple walking down the street. She yells to him and approaches him, but he quickly hails a cab and the three of them disappear. The next morning, Sarah brings her laptop to the park to log an entry in her blog. The rest of that day, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Was this too good to be true? She asked her online friends. Immediately after entering her new post, an anonymous content comes up reading, "You've been warned." A little alarmed, Sarah deletes the comment, but 2 more show up immediately. After trying over and over to remove these troll comments, they continue to be posted unrelentlessly. Freaked out, Sarah collects her laptop and returns home to talk to Ted. Upon her request, Ted comes over to Sarah's house and assures her that he simply did not see her in Chicago. He was tied up with clients and very focused on closing a new deal, and apologizes for appearing to ignore her. Tells her he would never hide anything from her and says those 3 little words that mean so much. I love you. She hasn't told him about her blog or the strange comments because she sees that as her personal space separate from the real world. They make up. One night after a nice dinner out, Sarah and Ted listen to some music sitting on the couch at his house. He decides to make a late-night run to get them some gourmet coffee and dessert. After he leaves, Sarah finds an unfamiliar phone in the couch. She picks it up, tries the passcode to his garage, and the phone unlocks. The phone is entitled Hank Schreiner's phone. She looks into the pictures and... Shocked and nearly paralyzed, Sarah tosses the phone onto the couch and runs home, hoping that she will not run into Hank on the way there. All that she can see is one foot pounding in front of the other. Back at home, Sarah sits in her bedroom for several hours, ignoring her ringing phone and thinking about what had just happened. What had she seen? Wedding photos? A strange house? Kids? How could she have not realized? All the mystery, the job far away, weekends and weeks out of town. She had had a hunch at the beginning of this all that this was wrong, and she had been right. In order to clear her mind and to remove herself from the situation, Sarah flew to Connecticut to be with her family. Her parents disagreed on what she should do to deal with the situation, but she knew exactly what was going to happen. She was never going to talk to Ted or Hank or whoever again. He apparently had pieced together what had happened and left voicemails on her phone saying that was all in the past. It didn't matter. She didn't care. She deleted her messages, packed up her things, kissed her family goodbye, and left for the airport. She was actually looking forward to being back and being able to focus on herself once again. Upon arriving home, Sarah finds an all too familiar guest sitting on her couch. "How did you get in here? And what are you doing in my home?" Sarah yells. The angry redhead screams back, "You're going to pay for what you've done, homewrecker." Sarah tries to explain that she didn't know about Hank's family, but the embittered wife says that her blog revealed her, and that she had given her the courtesy of warning her through comments. Sarah attempts to get a word in to defend herself, but the woman had already slapped her. A fight ensued. Sarah wakes up in a daze and her furniture is gone and replaced by an outdoor grill. Dizzy and confused, she asks, What's happening? Rhoda apologizes for the beating and hopes to make it up to her by grilling some dinner. Sarah can barely stand from her knock over the head and tries to make some sense out of the situation. After putting the food on the grill, Rhoda excuses herself to the bathroom. Sarah leans against the wall, unable to support herself. When she turns around, Rhoda is back, and a fence has appeared around her and the grill. You're going to burn, laughs Rhoda. Sarah, surveying the situation, realizes there is no solution and submits to her fate. Ha 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 ha!